Pokemon Draft League has been around for over 10 years, and today we're finally bringing a doubles draft league to the channel. I'm going to be your coach of the Wagamama Highway Quasas, and we'll be taking on Pat Mac, coach of the Sacramento Sandslash, in our Week 1 battle to see if Diancie, a Pokemon typically banned in VGC, which we were allowed to pick in this season, is going to be good enough to actually bring home the battle. If you guys enjoy and want to see some more doubles draft league content on the channel, of course, leave a like on the video and subscribe for more. And let's try and see if we can hit 30 likes for today's video. You guys crushed the like goal yesterday, so I want to try and see if we can break that today. But with that said, let's get into the team we'll be using. First, I do want to mention that if you are interested in possibly becoming a channel member, you can actually get access to a live team builder where I'll be able to show you guys my whole process for the entire build and how I came to what we ended up bringing today. But for those of you who don't really have the money or just not interested in becoming a channel member, I'll briefly go over the matchup and what we decided on. My opponent's team consists of Dipplin, Hoopa Unbound, Skeletors, Weirdeer, Noivern, Electros, Mudsdale, and Iron Bundle, with Tera Pokemon being Hoopa Unbound and Skeletors. Meanwhile, my roster is Iron Hands, Rillaboom, Goldengo, Diancie, Iron Jugulis, Golduck, Glaceon, and Growlithe, with my Tera Pokemon being Rillaboom and Goldengo. And the very first Pokemon on our roster today is Diancie with the Babiri Berry. This is designed to get around any sort of steel coverage, as my opponent does have some really good steel type moves, with Skill Swap, Diamond Storm, Trick Room, and Moonblast. I'm going with the minus speed Diancie to try and be as slow as possible, and with Diamond Storm hitting this team fairly well outside of defensive Teras, and Moonblast just being a really good option for Pokemon like Hoopa Unbound, while still being able to lean more towards a lot of the special options that my opponent might be weak to, this Diancie should overall be a really strong mixed Trick Room attacker that can deal some good damage to my opponent. With the Trick Room set, I do have Glaceon with the Room Service item, which should help a lot with underpacing my opponent's team. Now with Blizzard, Calm Mind, Shadow Ball, and Protect, this makes for a really good option both in and out of Trick Room, since I should be able to creep any sort of Skeletors my opponent will be likely to bring if I don't set Trick Room. Meanwhile, with the Room Service, I should be able to underpace any threat that my opponent would otherwise be able to prepare, all the way down to things like Skeletors, for example, even if it's minus speed. This set should essentially be able to catch off my opponent regardless of if they go with a faster or slower team comp, and even if they do hesitate to set their own Trick Room, or if they try and stop me from setting my own with Imprison, I should be fine here. Moving on, we do have Iron Hands with the Booster Energy for attack to try and lean into its really strong wall breaking prowess, with Swords Dance, Ice Punch, Drain Punch, and Wild Charge. Overall, this set should be a really good high offensive set, with the special defense and Def investment along with the HP, allowing it to take hits from a lot of different wall breakers on this team, all the way up to Pokemon like Mudsdale, with the rest going into our special defense to help with just taking hits from the special threats. Moving on to Iron Jugulis, we do have a choice spec set since my opponent doesn't have a lot of great Dark Switch-ins. With Dark Pulse, Snarl, U-Turn, and Flash Cannon, we should be able to, with our Modest Nature, break past even Weirdeer, which should be great in order to try and stop it from setting Trick Room in case my opponent really does go with the slower comp, since options like Mudsdale could be a problem for our team with Trick Room. With Flash Cannon, this should be great for any sort of random Tera Fairy options, and U-Turn will be an amazing way to damage Hoopa Unbound really easily. Moving on, we have Rillaboom, which is going to be one of our first Tera options with the Tera Fire. This should help put up 50-50s against Pokemon like Iron Bundle and Skeletors in terms of what they should be targeting me with, and with the moveset of Knock Off, Grassy Glide, Fake Out, and Wood Hammer, we'll be able to get some really strong damage off on the opponent's team, while still being able to apply Fake Out pressure, which can help with setting my own Trick Room, or even just getting a really good breaking power on turn 1. Finally, we do have Goldengo, our second Tera option with the Life Orb, with Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, and Protect. I didn't really need a Seal move here, and using Goldengo as a really good breaker with Tera Fairy could allow us to get some high damage with Fairy plus Ghost coverage, which hits the team perfectly. Our spread is to try and creep Modest or Adamant Hoopa Unbound, since I don't think that my opponent will go with a Timid or Jolly Nature, but this should allow us to try and figure out if my opponent is going with a speed boosting nature or not, and just how fast they might be overall. The team is going to be on screen with the rental here, as well as in the description in case you want to try this against your friends. Obviously with Diancie, it can't be allowed on the ranked ladder, but still doesn't hurt to try and use the team if you're interested. And with that said, let's get into today's best of 3. Alright, going into game number 1, we're taking on Pat Mac, of course, for the best of 3 for the VGC Draft League, the MDA. This is our week 1, of course. We did a really quick builder in the beginning, but if you are interested in these more live team builder aspects for the whole process, of course, you can join the channel membership for just a couple dollars a month. But with that said, in terms of my opponent's team, also, I just realized I'm a little off center. Okay, well, never mind, we'll just leave it. So I think that my best bet is going to be to lead off turn 1 with Annette, our Jugulis. And then I think in tandem with the Iron Hands, we have not yet revealed that we don't have Fake Out. I think it could be a good lead. I'm gonna bring the, I kind of want to bring Rillaboom. I do need to decide quickly. I think I go with Rillaboom and then Glaceon as my backliners. The team is really weak to Glaceon, thankfully. Actually, I think it's a really good cleaner here, and it should work really well outside of or in Trick Room, which is good. Good luck and fun to my opponent though, and yeah, let's get this going. So I feel pretty confident. We do know at the very least, since it is open Tera, that my opponent's Tera options are Tera Steel Skeletors, which I'm not sure why Tera Steel specifically. Maybe it's probably for Diancie to be completely honest, but even still, it's really weak to Earth Power. I think it's mostly fearing like a Diamond Storm play, if anything. Meanwhile, though, my opponent also does have to deal with the fact that they do have Tera Electric Hoopa, which Tera Electric Hoopa is kind of scary, but again, I don't personally really fear it for anything. I think they were maybe more so trying to fear like a Tera Water option, or maybe it's just because it has very few weaknesses and I don't have a ground type option on my team. Not really too sure, but either way, we do see the Weirdier lead, meaning that my play is always just going for a Specs Dark Pulse right into it. And then meanwhile, I think I'm going to go for the Drain Punch here, again, right into Weirdier, because my play is always to just attack that mon as quickly as possible. I can't really comfortably let that thing get up a Trick Room, because at that point, I do potentially lose, especially if they brought Mudstale. It's not terribly unwinnable for my team, but it definitely makes the matchup a lot harder, especially if that's, for example, like a Coil Electros. I do need to scout for that. So turn 1, my play is always just to kill the Weirdier. If my opponent lets me just kill them, perfect. They're Colbur Berry. Really glad I dual targeted that mon. We still deal over half. My opponent probably will, of course, assume that's Specs at this point, but I'm fine with that. Colbur Berry, and they are going to go for Thunderbolts. They're special heal. Perfect. Okay, unfortunately we don't kill, but that's fine. This thing is definitely going to go for Trick Room. Yeah, okay, Trick Room, perfect. Not a huge deal. I think I just let Juggy go down because Annette did her job. Just in case, we will target the Eel, and then meanwhile, I am going to go for the Drain Punch here right into Weirdier, because I don't really care about anything that this would do otherwise, and I think I just try and get some health back in case it underpaces. My opponent will switch here, that's perfectly fine. They don't really have a good Drain Punch switching, thankfully. Dundee, that's going to be the Skeletors. Oh, you know what? Yeah, they do have a Drain Punch. Okay. Still honestly not a big deal. Skeletors, thankfully, is fairly fast for Trick Room standards. So I'm honestly pretty okay with this. My Iron Hand should guarantee the pace. We are gonna lose the Jugulus here, which is perfectly fine. We're gonna proceed to bring in Erna, I think. I think that she'll do a pretty good job here. I could also bring in Rillaboom. Rillaboom with Tera could be decent, and my opponent doesn't really beat this thing, thankfully. I'll save Lily for now. We're gonna go into Erna here. I think that my best play will be to just go for Shadow Ball plus Wild Charge right into Dirge. Shadow Ball plus Wild Charge, really the best thing they could do, I guess, is go for Tera Steel to just try and get rid of their weakness to Shadow Ball. But at the same time, I could also just go for Protect and try and protect Erna a little bit. Yeah, so the worst thing a Dirge could do would be to go for like a Will-O-Wisp here, which could be kind of scary. I think I just go for the Shadow Ball. I could also just go for Blizzard, or even Calm Mind. Let's go for Calm Mind, actually. I feel confident in that, because realistically with Calm Mind and Sword Stance, I can definitely muscle Dirge one way or the other. I might even be able to force a Tera, which could be good, since Tera will allow me potentially to just go for Drain Punch right into this thing. We do know that Game 1, of course, let me take down some notes, of course. Game 1 back, because I do want to note down what came and what didn't. Okay, so we have seen 3 of the 4 Pokemon at the very least. We do know that Weirdier is also still alive in the back, which is good to know. Also, both of our Pokemon do under pace. I kind of assumed that would be the case, but it's still reassuring to know at the very least for future games if my opponent is going for Trick Room, we should be fine. They're going to go for Acid Spray into the Iron Hands. I'm very okay with this. Meanwhile, my opponent's going to go for Torch Song, and that's going to go right into the Iron Hands. Again, perfectly fine with this, because my opponent doesn't really deal a lot of damage to us, thankfully. Now, I'm going to go for Shadow Ball here, right into the Dirge. Let me double check my hands real quick. I just want to make sure we were intimidated. Yep, okay, perfect. And then, yeah, I think I just go for the Wild Charge here. Let me just make sure. So, Skeledirge versus Glaceon. I think we have like 192. Let me double check that. 32 modest, okay. Very important calc turn here. Let's see. And then with +1, we deal a fairly strong amount of damage. I mean, actually, we'll deal like nothing. But that's still fine. Iron Hands. We're gonna be, let's see. So we were 96 adamant with booster attack. Yeah, I just go for Wild Charge here. Wild Charge will help regardless of Tera or not Tera. They're gonna go for Protect. This is perfectly fine. They'll hopefully see that the play is always just to target the Dirge. And with the Wild Charge especially, we should be dealing some strong damage to this Pokemon. Yeah, because whether it's Terra Steel or not, I mean, we'll deal like half, which is good. Again, not really the most concerned with the Dirge, but it is reassuring to note, of course. What I think I do instead here, I'm going to go for Shadow Ball into the Dirge still. I think it is a good play, and then I'm going to go for Drain Punch right into Lamprey. That way then, if my opponent does go for Tera Steel, I get a Drain Punch on the following turn. I do anticipate that with our -4 that my opponent probably will go for Torch Song again, which is perfectly fine. They're weakening their own Trick Room, thankfully, and I can bring in Rillaboom and still Tera around this pretty comfortably. Plus, my Glaceon is in a good position at least to try and beat my opponent. The Unaware is definitely annoying, but thankfully, I don't think... Well, okay. So either they're unaware, and they're not going to actually take advantage of the Acid Spray drops, or they're not unaware, and then they're Blaze, which just means that they're going to take a lot more from Glaceon. And either way, I'm pretty okay with this. We should actually get a good indication of Blaze or Unaware from the damage that they'll deal to us. In fact, I could probably even figure that out right now. So, we're going to go for the Drain Punch here. Okay, perfect. We'll definitely figure it out with this turn, because Dirge should not take more than like 60% if it is unaware. So, let's see how much damage this ends up doing to the Dirge. That's definitely unaware. That's comfortably unaware. They're going to get Spit F drop. A little bit unfortunate for them, but it's still fine. Lamprey is going to go for Flamethrower. We take that pretty well, thankfully. Burn is unfortunate, but I do think we're just going to die anyway, so it's not a huge deal here. And then meanwhile, Torch Song will go off, and that should just kill Monica. Okay, unfortunate. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so going into, so it's going to be leftovers, it looks like, and Twisted Dimensions return to normal. Okay, perfectly fine here. Let's see, so I think I'm just going to go for the Terrifier on Rillaboom this turn. And then I'm going to go for a Blizzard. I think the Blizzard plus Terrifier knockoff will be really useful into my opponent. We should be able to deal some really strong damage to both Pokemon here. I don't think a Dirge will really mind dealing damage. Well, I don't really think that I'm scared of Dirge, whether it goes for some sort of offensive attack or not. And thankfully, even with Tera Steel, I mean, it's not going to help a ton, because Dirge should still take a lot from the fact that it is -1 Spit F now. So even if it does go for Tera Steel, it's still resisted either way for Blizzard. Knockoff will just become a neutral hit, but it will lose leftovers, which is good, so less recovery per turn. Yeah, I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be pretty fine here. So we know this is Torch Song or Protect, which is good to know. I forgot to note those down. And then this is Acid Spray and Flamethrower as well. This is leaning towards Eel probably being an AV Mon, but we don't really have enough information just yet to verify that. It's still obviously good information to have, though. And then the weirder we know is Trick Room, and it is Intimidate as well. I forgot to note that down. But again, all good things to note. Okay. Perfect. So, all of these are going to be pretty useful things. We just barely do not KO, unfortunate. But it is what it is. They're going to go for Torch Song here. Okay, Glaceon will take... Oh, ooh, never mind. We do not take that. Right, because this thing is getting past our special defense boost. Yeah. I think we might have lost. Okay. We might still be fine here. Rillaboom can, to be fair, depending on that last mon, win the game. We're gonna go for a Grassy Glide here, right into Lamprey. I think there's a good chance that Dirge goes for a Protect here, just to try and let Lamprey get an Acid Spray off. And I'd rather just punish Lamprey. Perfect. Okay, Dirge went for Protect. Glad I made this play. Because Dirge definitely on paper seems like a lot bigger of a threat. You know, it's like several boosted Torch Songs at this point. So I'd rather just get my kill. Perfect. Okay. So we at least got a kill. That's good to note. Okay. And also I need to note down kills here. Okay. Yeah, this is one. This is my least favorite part of draft. Okay. So now at this point, I think I just go for the kill into the Skeledirge here. I'm just gonna go for a Wood Hammer just to verify that it will kill. Because I don't know how Fizz Def this is, and I don't want to risk anything. Okay. Let's see. So I think they're gonna probably go for like a Trick Room, and I'm honestly fine with that. If this thing goes for like an Ally Switch and it gets Ally Switch, I mean, just good play by my opponent. I don't even know if it does or not. But we'll have to figure that out. Okay. So they're gonna let me kill the Dirge, thankfully. Which is really good for Rillaboom, actually. Rillaboom is going off. And then we're going to find the 4th Monad as well, which is actually really valuable. They're going to go for Body Slam, which is, again, good just to scout this information. Rillaboom, thankfully, does outpace that. Perfect. I'm curious about what that last Pokemon is here. I'm anticipating that it probably is going to be the... Oh, no, Gallows, it's probably Hoopa. Yeah, it's Hoopa inbound. Okay, that's probably their Terramon as well, which is good to know. We're really not super fast Rillaboom, which is fine. How much damage do we deal with this spread? 176. I just need to figure out if I can or cannot afford to risk Hoopa Unbound. Let's see. Okay, so Tera's pretty neutral on us, thankfully. Grassy Glide. We could maybe actually kill. Oh, this is with Commander Boost. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, Wood Hammer. Yeah, we kind of just need to go for Wood Hammer here. We're going to go for Wood Hammer into Hoopa. And we're just going to kind of hope that we can kill. To be fair, if they are Trick Room oriented, we might be able to pick this off. They're going to Tera here, which is perfectly fine. I'm assuming this is just to get rid of their weakness to U-turn, which is valid. But yeah, we're just going to claim our kill. Hope this is not Super Fizz Def Hoopa. And then they're going to go for Thunderbolt. Okay, Thunderbolt is going to do a lot, actually. But thankfully, it's not enough. That's huge. That's really huge, actually. Because we don't kill. We do not kill. Right, because we're -1. And then Weirder's going to pick us off. Unfortunate. Okay. Good game 1 to my opponent. And yeah, let's get into game number 2. Because we do need to now win game number 2. Because I mean, I'm not going 0-2 in this. I'll tell you guys right now. I think I just ditch Glaceon realistically, and then I still go with the Jugulis on lead for sure. Because Jugulis can deal a really high amount of damage, even with the Colbur Berry on that Mon. But I think instead I maybe go with Goldengo. I think Goldengo might be a bit better, and I could even just Tera turn 1. I think that realistically works out a lot better for me. Let me double check real quick. So Weirder, Goldengo. Let me also just import my sets. That'll help a lot with doing calcs in-game. So it's probably very Spadef leaning for sure. The fact that we didn't do a ton over half, this is definitely a Spadef Weirder, so I do need to lead with something more physically leaning. This could just be with Rillaboom instead. I could even just take advantage of going for a Wood Hammer right in a spot and dual targeting. I feel like this might be a bit better of a lead. Because they called me not having Fake Out, which is fair for them, of course. I'm going to go with Thea in our 3rd spot, and I think the last one will still be Iron Hands. I think it does have a good matchup here. I think that the Rillaboom will just be more aggressive into their team, and even if they lead off with something like Skeletors, this is fine. Realistically, actually, there's not really a Mon on lead that pressures the combination of Lily and Annette, thankfully. Because their best check to either would be Bundle, but it's such a different way to check both with Bundle. Since with Tera Fire, I can at least force the call with going for an Ice or a Water move into Rillaboom. And then obviously with Jugulis, I mean, it needs to go for like a Freeze Dry or it's just not going to kill. And I can play around that potentially. Especially having Iron Hands in the back that could be useful. And the fact that Bundle also can't Tera means that I could probably just go for a Fake Out spot into the Bundle. I might be able to just glide it as well, but frankly, if it's bulky Bundle, I don't really want to tempt fate there. So yeah, good luck and fun to my opponent. And we'll have to see what happens here, because I think my opponent does have a lot going for them in terms of their composition, and I don't really want to let them actually beat me. So I kind of just need to see. They're gonna lead off with Hoopa and Weirder. That's perfectly fine. Okay. So what is my opponent going to do here? Let's see. Okay, so with Hoopa on the field in particular, definitely a little bit more concerning. But I'm not too afraid either. Let's see. So I could go for Snarl. Spec Snarl and then like a Wood Hammer could deal a lot of damage to this core. With Weird Air. Weird Air on the field versus Rillaboom. They did pop Intimidate, obviously. Wood Hammer would still deal a lot of damage. I could just go for Wood Hammer. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for Wood Hammer here. And then I'm gonna go for the Snarl here. The Snarl should hopefully just help weaken Hoopa's damage a little bit, which is good. They're gonna withdraw Prancer, which is perfectly fine. They're gonna go into Lamprey. That's the Eel. Okay, perfect. That's fine. Okay. That's actually very okay. Because this means realistically now, yeah, they're now dropped. Ooh, and their eject button, Hoopa, which I'm very okay with. Let's see, okay. Eject button. Perfect. Actually, I think it was eject button or eject pack. I'm pretty sure it's eject button. Perfect. So we know 3 of the 4 mons. Wood Hammer's still going to deal a lot of damage to the Eel, thankfully. And even with my opponent now having several drops to my attack, I should still be fine into this core. What I can proceed to do, I can just go for a... I think I'm just going to go for a Wood Hammer right into Eel. And then... Or I could even just go for like a knockoff in that spot, actually. I feel more confident with knockoff. Just in case if like the Dirge comes in, I can get rid of leftovers immediately. And then I think I am going to still go for the Snarl. I know that this is going to be Cold Berry and it's going to take it pretty comfortably. But unless if their last mon is Mudsdale, which I don't think it is. With how good Dirge did last game, I don't think it's Mudsdale. Unless their last mon is Mudsdale though, Diancie does have a kind of a field day in Trick Room. So I'm very fine with letting my opponent just go for that, in all honesty here. Especially when I'll kill the Eel, which is kind of a big deal for their team. Okay, well I won't kill the Eel, but I'll be able to pick it off next turn, which is still really good. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we get the knockoff, and that's Assault Vest. Okay, perfect. We do have the Assault Vest mon figured out. Okay, and we do end up taking a good amount on Jugulis. It's still fine. I am going to preserve Jugulis, I think, this time, because against this core, I can pretty easily go into hands. Meanwhile, with Rillaboom, I think I just go for a Glide into the Eel before it gets off anything. And even if my opponent switches out, I think I'm okay with that. So we're going to preserve Jugulis, and I think I'm just going to go right into Iron Hands. Realistically, any swap that my opponent could be making here should be fine, and they're not going to swap on either mon, which is good. Because otherwise, Jugulis would have went after it, guaranteed, since both these Pokemon do definitively move slower than I do. So this is perfectly fine, actually. We're going to have a Booster Hands now on the field that can get a really free Swords Dance up next turn. I don't really know what my opponent's going to do with Weird Ear, but I'm not really too scared either. They take the hit. That's actually insane. Well, Thunderbolt still does no damage, thankfully, because of the fact that, I mean, I'm in Iron Hands. And then their Body Slam can't para, and it should also deal, again, no damage, which should work out perfectly fine because I'm in Iron Hands. I think I'm just going to Glide and kill the Eel before I can go for Acid Spray, because, again, that's the Pokemon that I actually fear right now. And then I'll go for Swords Dance on the Iron Hands here, because it just can snowball through their own Trick Room. Again, unless their last mon is Mudsdale, I'm not really afraid of their team, and even if it is Mudsdale, I still do have Rillaboom that I can just preserve instead of preserving Diancie, which is perfectly fine. But basically, my win con is Iron Hands plus one of Rillaboom or Diancie. Guaranteed one of them will have a good matchup. It's just dependent on whatever one it is, which really just depends on the Mudsdale versus the Dirge being in the back. Because if it's Dirge, Diancie is my win con objectively. And if it's not Dirge, they're gonna go for Side Shield Dash, which is perfectly fine. That's still a very weak move. Side Shield Dash. Okay, yeah, they're gonna deal no damage, thankfully, which is perfectly fine. We now have +2 attack and our booster. I could probably just massacre that Weird Ear, especially with the fact they're gonna be Dundee. Yep, that's Skeletor's. Okay, perfect. So honestly, not a big deal. So we know they're 4 now. I think I just go for the. I just go for the Tera here. And I just go for knockoff into Dirge. And then I just go for the Drain Punch. No, yeah, I think I just go for Drain Punch into Weird Ear. Let me double check real quick. So without the Intimidate boost, Iron Hands with +2. Yeah, Wild Charge should pick this off. Just to be safe, I am actually just going to target the Weird Ear as well. And we'll go for a Grassy Glide. And then I'm going to go for the Wild Charge. Actually, I can go for Drain Punch in that case. Because even with -2, I mean, the Drain Punch will comfortably do enough. So I'm pretty confident with this. My opponent did not Tera on their Skeletors, which is good to note. That means they're probably going to save it again for the Hoopa Unbound, which I'm very okay with. So, yeah, in terms of what my opponent will do here, I feel like we're still pretty fine. I mean, Weirder should drop this turn. Let's see. Ooh, Weirder takes that. Okay. That means they do have some Phys Def investment, which is perfectly fine. We're gonna have a lot more health now, thankfully. Psy Shield Bash shouldn't deal a lot of damage. Yeah, it's still pretty manageable. And then Dirge should now be pretty easily picked off by my Pokemon. So again, not really too scared of Dirge either. Especially with the fact that, I mean, Rillaboom can still pivot, and we do still have Diancie to massacre this thing anyway, as well as Jugulis. So regardless, I'm pretty okay here. We'll go for Knockoff into Dirge, and then I'm going to go for the Drain Punch into Prancer, because no matter what, I'll get some nice health back either way. So this is really just about keeping hands alive for even just an extra turn, if possible. If not, I mean, that's still really okay. But I mean, at this point, I just kind of need to wait until something dies or until Trigger ends, which both of those should be fairly manageable. If my opponent switches out Weirder, that means they're giving me more health, which is great. And Hoopa also will not really appreciate taking a +2 Drain Punch from booster attack hands. They're just not gonna like doing it. Nothing likes taking that. So Weirder drops, that's their Trick Room Setter gone, which is great. That means that Jugulis is now a viable win con here. And with the fact that I am Tera Fire, Dirge shouldn't be able to comfortably kill me either, which is really huge. So I can just kind of get rid of its item at this point, which should limit recovery. We are going to lose hands in the process, but I'm very... Ooh, we keep hands. Even better, in all honesty, because I'm just going to threaten the partner slot again. We do knock off the Dirge, which is huge. Perfect. Okay. So Dirge's recovery is also gone. Twisted Dimensions return to normal, which is also really good. That means that the Dirge is now pretty bad into my team, actually. I'm going to proceed to switch out here, and I'm going to go into Diancie, because Diancie without Trick Room up isn't really the best, and I don't want to reset Trick Room against this team either. We're going to go for a Wild Charge here and just kill off the Skeledirge. I anticipate that Hoopa will claim a kill. I'm very fine with that. But Jugulis at this point is now my best mon to bring in, and especially with Rillaboom getting the terrain reset, that'll be very valuable for the end. My opponent will probably have to not Tera either Pokemon, though if they do Tera something, it's going to be the Dirge, because that'll get rid of its weaknesses to things like Iron Jugulis' Dark Pulse, which with the specs will be huge. I don't think Hoopa really tries to get rid of that resistance, because it's a really important resistance for it. But if it doesn't, I mean, I can just turn on it pretty free, and that's really good for me as well. Plus, I could just bring in Rillaboom next turn, and then just go for Glide into this as well. They're burning Tera, which is great. That means information time. What's my opponent get Tera? It's probably Dirge? No, it's Hoopa. It's Hoopa again. Okay, perfect. Tera Hoopa is very fine for me. I just bring in my Rillaboom on this and just claim. So Hoopa or Dirge, if not both, will just claim a KO here, and either way, I'm not too concerned. Okay. So Diancie is gonna take a good amount. That actually chewed really well. Holy shit. Diancie Babiri was stolen by Magician. It's still honestly not a big deal. And then Dirge will drop to these. Well, Dirge will claim a kill from the Iron Hands, which I'm very okay with. Iron Hands did its job. We're gonna bring in the Rillaboom now. Yeah, Rillaboom should be pretty okay here. And then I think I just go for Woodhammer right into the Hoopa. We don't really see any item of value here, which is fine. Let's see. So Rillaboom versus Hoopa Unbound, just to make sure. So Grassy Glide shouldn't kill, definitely will not kill. We're just gonna go for Diamond Storm here, and then I'm just gonna go for Woodhammer here. Woodhammer should deal a ton of damage to the Hoopa. I don't really anticipate a protect, but even if it goes for one, that's fine. Thunderbolt's not gonna deal a lot to either of my Pokemon. We've already seen that Hoopa just cannot damage me sufficiently. Perfect. 3 KO right there. Great information for later. Woodhammer will pick off a Hoopa guaranteed. That's great. Rillaboom dealing even more damage. So perfect. Hoopa is now dropped, which is great. Still unkill, which is amazing. Really just terrible Pokemon, to be honest. And then we're going to see Skeletor's going for a Shadow Ball, which will claim something, which is fine. Rillaboom does drop to this, unfortunately, but I'm pretty fine with that. We do still have Jugulis in the back, thankfully, as well as my Diancie on the front, which is going to get off a really free Diamond Storm here. Beautiful animation, by the way. This move goes hard. We don't even need Jugulis. Diancie claims a kill. I'm so proud of her, because everyone slept on her. Everyone said she was a terrible mythical back in Sword and Shield. But in Scarlet and Violet, baby, Diancie has proven to be a monster. Really one of the best like glow-ups in my opinion for Mythicals, but that's totally besides the point. If you want to see more discussion on that, second channel plug, second channel plug, second channel plug. Game number 3 time though. I feel like that my lead this time is really good. The issue being is I kind of want to just try and pressure the Weirder and Hoopa lead even more, which might mean I actually go for Goldango this time. As weird as that sounds, I feel like, so I think the 4 were still really good. We're gonna battle again with the same rules. I think the 4 was still really good here. I do anticipate though that my opponent will probably bring Mudsdale or Bundle this time. I feel like Bundle is a really free bring, and I think that's a huge reason to maybe just lead Goldango instead if they're gonna try to go for like a fast mode. Goldango can still deal a lot of damage, and I think Tera Fairy Goldango especially can really kick ass if my opponent brings the same 4, because they don't really have a great way around that. Shadow Ball plus Fairy just hit, Shadow Ball plus Gleam just hits the team really well. And I think that I can get a plot off very comfortably since that Hoopa is not really strong. We've seen that Hoopa is very weak every time. I think this just means that I bench. So I definitely like the Jugulus lead. I feel like even though it is a bit predictable at this point, Jugulus lead is still really good. The question is, do I die to Bundle? I feel like that's a really important question actually, because that might determine if I do or don't lead Jugulus again. Iron Bundle. Let's check. So Bundle would kill if it's Specs. If it's Life Orb, it still kills. Booster Energy, it still kills unless it's Special Attack. Actually, Booster Energy does not kill, which is good. Again, unless it's Special Attack, which is fine. So I think that I go with Jugulus, Goldango. I think I go with, so they're gonna probably try and over pepper on Rillaboom, which is fine. I mean, honestly, I think they're bringing the best 4 forward Rillaboom is the thing. Like, I don't really think that Bundle helps a lot with that, and it just makes them a bit weaker. I could just bring Rillaboom and maybe just ditch the Hands. Ditching Hands is viable. I feel like it's definitely viable. Hands hasn't really done a lot that I can't just do with Rillaboom, and realistically, I can just pressure on lead really immediately anyway. Yeah, I think I'd ditch Hands. I feel like if Mudsdale comes, Rillaboom is way more valuable, and Tera Fairy Goldango can just deal a lot to this team. And I think that'll be a really strong Tera abuser just to rip off turn 1. Really only I'm going to pop that though on turn 1 if they're going to lead with Hoopa. I think any other case I can just deal outright damage and be fine. I think the only other exception might be like an Eel and Skeletor's lead, just so I can not be weak to Skeletor's. But even then, I mean, I'm still fine because I could just Snarl plus Shadow Ball and I'd probably be okay. But good luck and fun to my opponent though. Best of luck in game number 3. My opponent is going to lead off with the Skeletors and Weirder. Okay, Skeletors Weirder is very fine. I'm not really against this lead at all. And I think I just go right into the Weirder here. Because I feel like, again, that the Snarl plus... I feel like a Snarl plus Gleam combination is really good. I could also just go for... Yeah, so I'm going to definitely go for a Snarl here. I think Snarl is really fine. And then I'm going to go for... I think I'm actually going to switch here. And I'm just going to go right into Diancie. Because neither of these Pokemon can threaten Diancie at all. And Goldango can definitely set up on a lot of easier Pokemon later on. The Snarl will be great into the Dirge, and even if my opponent does end up going for Protect, I'm very fine just getting damage off and popping the Colbert on Weirder. They're going to Tera immediately. Tera Steel on Skeletors. Very fine with the Tera Steel Skeletors, actually. It's a lot better of a matchup for me than the Hoopa, because I can just U-turn Hoopa, and that's a free endgame kill right there with the Jugulus. So I'm very fine with this. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we get some good damage off. I mean, even still, that's pretty decent damage into Dirge, despite the fact this is now a neutral move. So I'll more than take it. It's definitely gonna go for an attack. It's gonna go for Torch on here, perfectly fine. And then, yeah, that does nothing. That does absolutely no damage, which is very, very fine for me. Okay, and then they're gonna go for Body Slam, actually. Body Slam is also very fine for me. We do see that they do get a Para. Not the greatest, but it's also not the worst. Because realistically, as long as I'm still getting off attacks, I should be fine. The Jugulus is still gonna be fast enough to be okay in this matchup anyway. So what I'm gonna do here, I think I'm just gonna go for the... I think I'm gonna go for the Snarl again. And then this turn, I'm going to... I think this turn I go right back into Rillaboom. No, I think I just go for... I think I go for the Skill Swap into the Skeletor's, maybe? I think I go for Skill Swap into Skeletor's. No, I don't really think I have to. I think I can honestly just go for Diamond Storm. Because that damage or even just a Moonblast. Yeah, I think just a Moonblast into Prancer will be fine. Because there's a good chance it switches. They do not switch. Unfortunate. While Torch Song goes off, it does not deal a lot of damage, thankfully. The Snarl did help a lot earlier. And Side Shield Bash into Diancie, again, shouldn't deal a lot of damage. My opponent cannot really break me that comfortably, thankfully. We do see the Snarl pop, thankfully. That should deal some damage. And my opponent is going to lose the Weeder this turn, which is huge. We do also get a crit on Dundee, which is even better. I'll more than take that. The Skeletor's outpacing us is pretty bad, I can't lie, but it's still manageable. The Jugulus, thankfully, has gotten off some really strong damage already. I'm going to let it go down no matter what comes in, I think. Because with the Para, it's not valuable at all. At this point, I think I just go for it. They're going to bring in Iron Bundle. Okay, good to know. Iron Bundle is perfectly fine. Okay. So, they're going to be Booster Energy, and it's going to be Booster Speed. Good to note. Okay. So, at this point, I think I just go for the Snarl here. And then I think I just go into Goldango. Because, so they're going to definitely try and... I feel like I'm still fine to just let this go down, in all honesty. Yeah, I think I'm still fine to just let this go down. If they do try and go for a kill. I'm going to go for Trick Room here. Well, actually, no. I'm going to go for Diamond Storm here. I think Diamond Storm is my better play. Because I can bring in Rillaboom afterwards and just glide the bundle spot and be fine, especially with Tera. They're going to Hydro Pump. That's fine. Hydro Pump does kill, unfortunate, but Diancie, it is what it is. Rillaboom plus Goldango can still massacre. I have total faith. And Skeletor's just going to claim a kill into Jugulus, which is perfectly fine. Definitely the Para hurts a lot, I can't lie, but we can still make this work. We can still comfortably make this work. Okay. So, Iron Bundle should still be pretty easy to manage here. I don't really fear this mon in any capacity. Yeah, we're going to be fine. We're going to be very fine. Because if Bundle's going for Pump, I don't think it can actually kill in my Rillaboom because it's Booster Speed. Yeah, so even if it is... I mean, yeah, Hydro Pump does nothing. Even to... Yeah, the Terrifier that does no damage to Rillaboom. Which is very okay. Even... Yeah, it's 77% max. We're gonna go for Grassy Glide here. Right into the Iron Bundle. Grassy Glide... That should kill, right? Grassy Glide should kill? Let's see. Let me double check real quick. So... Yeah, Rillaboom with Grassy Glide can get a roll to kill. I'm still very fine with this. Like, I'm very fine with just going for Glide and then going for Shadow Ball into Dirge. Let me just... Actually, do I need to go for that? So actually, hold on. I do need to go for the Grassy Glide, yes. I need to go for that into Bundle. And then I think I just need to go for Shadow Ball into Dirge. And that should be good. Okay. We're just gonna kind of have to hope off of this. If for some reason I don't kill, I mean, Dirge will be able to just get KO'd on the following turn by, like, a knockoff or something. Frankly, I'm more anticipating a Protect on Dirge, if anything, which I'm very fine. Actually, a Protect on Bundle specifically, but I still need to make this play in case it gets a Pump Off. Because once it gets that Pump Off, it's a little bit harder to come back. Okay, they're going to go for Protect on Bundle. That's fine. Dirge should still take a comfortable amount. They're going to go for Protect anyway. It's still very fine. Alright. So, at this point, I think that my play is just to dual target the Skeletor's. Just to make sure, how much do I deal the Skeletor's? I think, let's see, so post-Tera. Actually, it should be a guaranteed KO, unless this is Super Spit F, which, it might be bulkier. It's already looking kind of gray. Okay, so, my Goldango is definitely faster. I'm gonna go for Wood Hammer, just in case. And then we'll go for Shadow Ball. Because if Shadow Ball does kill this, then that's great for me. If I can kill the Skeletor's, then I can just Wood Hammer right into Bundle, and I'm very fine. And even if I don't kill the Skeletor's, I can then at least get a really weak Wood Hammer off, which should at least keep a lot of my health on my Rillaboom, meaning that I can still Glide Bundle on the following turn anyway. They're gonna Hydro Pump. Shouldn't kill. Perfect. Okay, doesn't kill. Shadow Ball goes off. Can we kill the Skeletor's? I feel confident. Perfect. Okay, we killed the Skeletor's. That's great. And Bundle will guarantee drop to Wood Hammer. There's no if and or but about it. Bundle drops to Wood Hammer, which thankfully this order of events really helped us out a lot. So Skeletor's is gone. Goldango 1-0. Rillaboom gets a kill at least. It might also drop, but I'm very fine with that. Okay. And then Rillaboom, take the hit, take the hit, take the hit. No, unfortunate, it drops. Okay. Okay, so just Goldango left against their last Mon. Now, if this last Mon is Hoopa Unbound, this is rough. I think I lose the game if it's Hoopa Unbound. Actually, wait, it's... No, we don't actually know. It's weirder. Okay. They're gonna go into Gauss. It's Hoopa Unbound. Fuck, okay. My opponent got me. My opponent got me. Very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Maybe we'll take the hit, I guess. Gleam should do some okay damage. It's not gonna kill, though. Yeah, that's about half, actually. Can they maybe just not be super offensive? Not offensive Hoopa? It's gonna kill. Like, this will objectively kill. And that's gonna massacre. Yep, okay. Unfortunate. Alright. Well, good game to my opponent. Hoopa ended up doing it. Yeah, I mean, Goldango drops. Definitely unfortunate, because I do feel confident we could have maybe won that. If the Dirge didn't, I don't know, if Weirdo didn't get the pair, but I mean, Body Slam is like 30%. It happens, Scald burns all the time. It's not really an uncommon thing. It's just unfortunate, since I think that I'm pretty sure that made the difference. But it is what it is. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it anyway, though. If you did and you want to see some more content like this, leave a like and subscribe for more. Shout out to all of our channel members, of course, for just a couple dollars a month. You guys can get some nice bonus content, such as live team builders for these. You can get some extra videos a couple times a month. We do have a poll that either should have just went up or it's just finished. I'm not sure which, depending on what day I put it up. I'm probably going to put it up on Saturday. So it might have just finished, but regardless, there should be an incoming members video very soon for you guys. So make sure to check that out, as well as just all the other members content that we do have up for you guys. With our current channel members, of course, we do have plenty of you. And starting off with Mia, Zeke Zero, Timo Mueller, Rao, Obo, Johanna Speed, Double, Endless Gadgets, Bambi, Josh K, Ultra Player, and Incog. Your guys' support is, of course, greatly appreciated. Again, button down below if you guys want to try out the channel memberships yourselves. And I will see you guys in the next week, where I think we're taking on, let me see. Week 2, we're going to be taking on the Texas Toadscruels, which is coached by QSN. Until then, peace out, guys.